Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if it's your first time, welcome to my channel. My name is Marlene and I talk about eating disorder recovery and everything related to healing the relationship to your own body, to food and movement. And before I'm going to start with the actual topic of this video, I'm planning a video where I'm answering your recovery related questions again, or eating disorder related questions. So if you have any questions that you would love me to cover in that video, leave a comment below and I'll make sure to answer those questions. But let's dive right into the topic as we always do. And today I want to talk about the mistakes I made in eating disorder recovery so that you can avoid them. Mistake number one was actually expecting recovery to be a linear process. And even though I was aware that it's not going to be a linear process, I kind of had that feeling that for me it's going to be easy. I will just gain weight until a certain set point. I will not go into overshoot. I will heal my relationship with food and then everything is going to be all right. Well, that was certainly not the point at all. First of all, eating was actually way harder than I expected it to be. So challenging my fear foods, letting go of the eating disorder, not holding on to these addict behaviors was so hard for me. And then even though I ate and I gained weight, and I also had to challenge myself to rest, it was certainly not easy at all. I suffered with water retention, with pain, with a lot of things that I addressed in another video before. And I also went into overshoot weight. So even though I was convinced that I'm not going to be the person that goes into overshoot weight, it happened. And that was actually where recovery actually really started for me. And as hard as it can be to hear that, if you are currently going through recovery, try to let go of those expectations of it's all gonna be easy, it's all gonna be super quick, super simple. And I'm not saying that to scare you. There's definitely people where recovery feels a little bit easier. And there's always parts and times in recovery that are easy and that are joyful. But just to not be discouraged when times are getting harder. Be aware that there will be hard times coming, but trust yourself enough to know that you are strong enough to go through those hard times. Mistake number two was not working on underlying issues. I was actually really convinced that I had done enough therapy already. I knew that I had underlying issues. I knew that I had topics to work on, but I thought I had done enough therapy already to not having to do any more work. And so I thought I'm just gonna have to start eating and everything is gonna be fine. Well, the point was that once I started eating more, a lot of emotions came up that I wasn't even aware of. So I had to work with those emotions. I actually had to learn to feel my emotions again, to let myself feel them again, to name them, and then also to understand where they're coming from and to not label them as good or bad, but to understand that my emotions are trying to help me. Mistake number three is a big one because I talk about the topic a lot. Extreme hunger is something that I find so important to be aware of. And in the beginning, I had such a hard time to listen to my hunger cues, to listen to my mental and physical extreme hunger. And that was really necessary for me to fully heal. So instead of trying to have the perfect recovery, to still gain muscle, to still work out a lot, and to just, tone up and just gain a little bit of weight, but mainly muscle weight, I had to let go of those expectations and I had to eat a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. I have a bunch of clients who regularly ask me, are you sure it isn't too much? I ate XY amount of food. Nobody ever ate as much before. And I can guarantee you, as long as it is medically safe, there is no amount of food that is too much in eating disorder recovery. Your body needs so much more energy than you realize, especially after you gain some weight already. Because a lot of people think, oh, now I gained weight already, so I can't allow myself to eat as much anymore. But that is oftentimes the point where the body actually sends out a lot of hunger cues again because there's so much internal repair to do. And the body also needs some time to trust you again. And you also have to trust your body that knows what it's doing. Number four is avoiding challenging situations. And while it is understandable that recovery is already hard and then you don't want to put yourself in even more challenging situations. And I'm always a fan of balance. So with my clients, I'm always trying to see, is this only the eating disorder speaking? Then you might have to challenge that situation. But if it is too much, it is also okay to say no from here and there. But to avoid challenging situations, for instance, because there is food, for instance, because there might be someone who can see your changing body, for instance, because there are foods that you avoided so far, those are actually excellent situations to challenge yourself and to grow in recovery. And it can be helpful to work with someone together, whether it's a coach, a dietitian, a therapist, or only a close friend you have to talk to when things are getting really hard. but only if you challenge yourself here and there, you will make progress in eating disorder recovery. Mistake number 5 is comparing your journey to others. And it kind of goes along with what I said in the beginning. I will be the person that will not have a hard time. I will not go into overshoot. And I think I kind of thought that because I saw other people's recovery stories. And yes, there were a few people where the recovery looked very easy. But I didn't even know if that was the truth. You can never know what a person like truly feels inside, what happens behind closed doors. And so comparing your recovery journey to someone else's will never be helpful because their whole story is different. Their body is different. Their physical story is different. Their mental story is different. The length of their eating disorder is different. Maybe even the behaviors they had are different. So comparing your story will not help you. You are unique, and it is challenging because in eating disorders, we oftentimes have a strong urge to control. And eating disorders oftentimes also help us to gain control or to gain that false sense of control. But in order to fully recover, we have to learn to trust again. And that also means letting go of some of this false control to actually regain real control. And letting go of false control also means to not compare yourself to somebody else, because in the majority of times, if we're comparing ourselves to someone else in eating disorder recovery, it is actually to determine, how long will XYZ gonna take? How long will I have extreme hunger? How much gain will I weigh? How long will my whole recovery journey take? And so nobody can tell you that, and comparing yourself to someone else will not give you the answers you're looking for. And last but not least, mistake number 6 is relying on my motivation. In the beginning, I was kind of motivated. I was in the honeymoon phase of recovery. I could finally allow myself to eat and to rest because it was not fun for me to starve myself. It was not fun for me to run around all day. So I kind of was relieved to finally allow myself to do those things. And I also told myself, well, I have to gain weight anyway, so I can do those things. But once I started to notice that my body was changing, I had a hard time to still feel motivated. And that is the thing. Motivation comes and goes. Regardless of what you are working on, if it's recovery related or not, there will always be days or even weeks or phases where you will not feel as motivated. And so you have to make sure that you're committed to eating disorder recovery, that you're really willing to do what it takes in order to recover. Because then you can allow yourself, even on days where you don't feel the motivation, to still continue with your recovery journey, to still challenge yourself and to still eat. And I actually wrote something down in a little post-it, and it says commitment over motivation. And I always looked at it on times where I wanted to go back, on times where I did not feel motivated, because those were the days where the most progress happened. And I know that I repeat that sentence a lot, but it is true. The times where we actually really struggle and still decide to go with what's best for our recovery, those are the times where real magic happens. And looking back now, I'm actually really glad that I still challenged myself, because I don't know if I would be in the place where I'm at now, which is fully recovered and actually helping other people with their recovery journey, if I would have had solely relied on my motivation. So I really hope this video helps you guys. Let me know in the comments if you struggle with some of those things, or if you have something to add, maybe some other things that you think are very important to avoid in eating disorder recovery. And as I said in the beginning, don't forget to leave your questions so that I can make sure to answer them in the next video. And otherwise, I will see you in the next one.